In this build, I'm using nothing but the finest building materials, cheap $2 cedar fence pickets. And in my case, these pickets were soaking wet, and since we had a really late second round of winter, they were completely frozen. So, after they dried out in my shop a couple weeks, I could finally get started on this project. I've been wanting to build my kids a raised garden bed for them to learn and take care of, and hopefully harvest some of their favorite fruits and vegetables that they love. Using the cedar fence pickets, not only am I going to be able to build one a little bigger and better than the store-bought ones for a fraction of the price, but I'm going to be able to solve a big problem that I'd have with one of these little gardens here at my house. It's hard enough keeping deer and rabbits from eating my landscaping plants literally right at my front door, let alone a delicious garden buffet prepared in a box. So I designed a lid enclosure that will still let in all the necessary light, is easy to open, and keeps pests away from the plants. Of course, people build big, pest-proof gardens, but I've never seen this idea incorporated into one of these smaller raised garden beds before, and it ends up working awesome. After getting all my pieces for the main box cut to size, I gave everything a quick sand. It's much easier to do this now before assembly, and I'm not going for a perfect smooth finish here, just knocking down some of the roughness and leaving some of the saw marks, which I think looks pretty cool. To begin assembly, I started by making the 4 legs, just using exterior glue and nailing with 1-inch stainless brad nails. From there, really it's just more glue and brad nails, attaching all the side panels to the insides of the legs. I'd say this is definitely the roughest build I have on my channel, just due to the material that we're working with. The pickets are going to be bowed and twisted, tapered and not the same thickness, and that's okay. It's literally a box that's going outside to be filled with dirt. I did add some screws here and there to help tighten things up, and then glued and nailed on these 2 ledgers that all the slats will sit on. And cutting those ledgers to length gave me the perfect size offcut to go ahead and add to the 2 long panels to take out any bow and make sure the 2 pieces are flush. I'm going to add a liner to my box, so for the slats I went ahead and spaced them out 1/4 inch to allow for drainage. The last thing to add to the box itself was the top cap trim pieces. Again, just more glue and brad nails. I did decide to add some more drainage holes in the middle of the slats as well, and at this point your typical raised garden bed is done. Super quick and easy. On to cutting up some more pickets for the upper enclosure. This is really quick to assemble as well, just simple frames pocket screwed together. I didn't have any exterior pocket hole screws small enough to work with this 5/8 inch material, so I'm just using normal exterior rated screws and it still works just fine. Little tip for you if you don't want to buy the special pocket hole screws. Here I'm adding some additional strips along the bottom to help stiffen them up and also give me a spot to attach them to the box. I debated just screwing these back and side panels on so they could be removable, but I did go ahead and glue and brad nail them permanently in place. Next, I could add the hinges for the drop-down door on the front. I'm tall enough that I don't need this, and if you're interested in the plans and building this for yourself, you may decide not to hinge this part either and just attach it like the other pieces. I thought it'd be cool for my kids though to just be able to open this front part and reach in. Last but not least, the top lid, built exactly the same way, just bigger pieces. I didn't buy enough hinges since I decided to use 3 on the front, so couldn't get it installed here, but yeah, going to work just like this. If it weren't for applying finish, this would be such a quick project, but next I applied a few coats of exterior spar urethane. The great thing about cedar though, if you don't mind or you want that weathered gray look, you can just call it a day and be done and not apply any finish. But fast forward to my finish being dry, next I could get the 1/2 inch hardware cloth added to the upper frame and doors. Pretty much any hardware store will have the galvanized in stock, but I wanted the black coating, and I was actually able to find some to order online from Home Depot for only $12, and it's enough to build 2 of these if I wanted. So add that to the less than $40 I had in the cedar fence pickets. Like I said, a fraction of the price of those store-bought ones, and it's bigger and has the protection. So I'll leave a link to this hardware cloth I used down below, along with all the other tools I used throughout the video if you want to check anything else out more. Once all the hardware cloth was stapled on, I could go ahead and reinstall the hinges to get it all attached. Here I'm just using some small eyelets and thin cable to add a stopper on the top door to prevent that from falling all the way back. Then on the front door, this wasn't completely necessary, but I had some of these small magnets that you can screw in on hand, so I recessed holes for those and got them installed. And that's it. I'd love to end with some beauty shots of it full of dirt and plants, but we've still got some time before we can plant here where I live, and I'd rather go ahead and get this video published so you guys can build yours if you'd like. It may not be as pretty looking with this enclosure on it, but definitely a case of function over form here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, take care.